Look at the sheer scale of regional Australia. This view of the snowy mountains captures just a fraction of the 126,000 square kilometers stretching from these peaks all the way to the agricultural plains of the South Australian border. These regions operate as the engine room of the nation, producing the dairy, crops, and livestock that feed the country. Yet the farming families and local towns driving this production are buckling under rising input costs and highly volatile global markets. You can see this tension clearly along the Murray-Darling Basin. Federal policies like direct water buybacks place immense strain on these local irrigation districts, trapping communities in an exhausting cycle of town hall arguments with distant authorities. While the political landscape fractures, these towns stay afloat entirely through an invisible economy. It is the unpaid care work, the volunteer rural fire service hours, and the quiet ecological river repair that holds these communities together. When local care and labor are consistently spent without being recognized or rewarded, the resulting burnout is a predictable outcome. To change this, we have to look past the current top-down bureaucracy and start building a resilient foundation where that value is actually kept within the community. This animated diagram shows how we can build that new foundation through a braided economy. It maps out the process of converting invisible civic labor, like spending a weekend repairing a local riverbank, directly into a verifiable digital currency known as community hours, or C-hours. Once those hours are verified, individuals trade them through an earn-to-heal protocol. This means civic care directly buys access to cutting-edge wellness technologies, like the hyperbaric oxygen therapy chambers shown here. By rewarding care work locally, we reduce the immediate pressure on household budgets. This microeconomic shift allows communities to pool their newly retained resources and build self-funding community sovereign wealth funds, bypassing the need to endlessly drain ratepayer taxes. We can deploy these funds into physical assets. Instead of constant defensive infrastructure, communities can build artificial reefs, like this submerged structure, that simultaneously protect our coastlines from erosion and cultivate dense marine abundance. Before any of these community funds are spent or a single grain of sand is moved, everyday people can test these policies safely. By building a one-to-one living digital twin of their region, they can simulate the exact impacts on local crop yields and downstream ecological health. By turning local volunteerism into biological resilience and self-funding infrastructure, communities have a highly practical way to engineer their own abundance and sidestep distant bureaucracies. If a single rural or coastal town can simulate its future and heal its people, the next question is how we scale that model. What is the catalyst required to make the entire nation adopt this system? That catalyst arrives with an immovable national deadline, the 2032 Brisbane Olympic and Paralympic Games. Preparing a city for this event, as seen in the aerial footprint of the Gabba Stadium, presents a massive logistical challenge. To pull this off, the region is already mobilizing a workforce of 50,000 volunteers, filling massive public spaces like this Brisbane Life site. The real tragedy would be letting that concentrated civic energy simply dissipate once the games end. We can use the games as a launch pad to scale the local C-hours model into a permanent, standardized national civic reserve. Under this national loop, millions of Australians will rotate through diverse civic roles. Whether guiding crowds in Brisbane or checking on elderly neighbors in Albury, they will collectively earn their way to biological optimization and clearing the fog of the daily grind. This level of national coordination provides a template for managing the systemic pressures on our horizon. Whether we are navigating shifting climates or solar particle events, these challenges require a population that can move together with clarity and high trust. Surviving these extreme events might even require the rapid coordination of specialized infrastructure, like deeply resilient subterranean civic spaces. These impending environmental and space-based challenges are not reasons for retreat. They are systems engineering problems that a biologically resilient, high-trust population is uniquely positioned to solve. When a society achieves that level of trust and coordination, it earns the right to make massive decisions together. The ultimate test is deciding exactly what to do with our largest national investments. Right now, the AUKUS agreement represents a multi-$100 billion investment. We are building the sovereign nuclear engineering capability seen in these submarine interiors and locking it into military deterrence. What if a cognitively fit public transparently voted to transition this exact industrial base towards the stars? This systemic flowchart maps the inputs and workforce pipelines of the AUKUS industrial base. If we redirect these output arrows away from underwater deterrence, we can shift that highly skilled workforce and propulsion know-how into building peaceful, regenerative orbital and lunar infrastructure. The immediate, tangible goal of this gambit is clear. Australia can take the lead in stabilizing and expanding the International Space Station, seen here orbiting Earth, into a permanent orbital commons. This scalable framework, running from the dirt of our local farms all the way to the microreactors of lunar habitats, is protopian realism in action. Humanity's cooperative ascent as a spacefaring civilization doesn't begin with a launch. It begins with the trust built through a single verified sea hour, earned by helping a neighbor back on Earth.